Hey, look at this ratio. Let's go see some cars.
This is a 1970 Datsun Nova. It originally came with a Chevy LT1 350.
Yeah, this is like my dream car. Yeah, it's so pretty. We're back with US Classic Muscle Cars, and I'm here with Matt, and he's going to be telling us about a couple incredible cars that we've got behind us.
Actually switched it to an automatic transmission, a 4-speed with overdrive, so she could cruise it on the highway at low RPM.
He had it wrapped pink for Kitty's Warriors.
This is Allie with US Classic Muscle Cars, and we're here with Brandon and his 79 Datsun. But I will say, Brandon, this doesn't look like the typical 79 Datsun. Please tell me about this car.
All right, so this is a 1979 Datsun 280ZX. We bought it about 6 months ago. I mean, we started on it right away. I kind of came up with the rendering before we bought it, and then we found this car, and we got it from Virginia. And the rendering, the only reason I was at SEMA was because we showed some of the guys from Sony, and they loved the car, so that was the only reason I even got the option to go. The motor's an LTG motor out of Cadillac ATS. The whole drivetrain, the dash, the center console, the seats, the steering column, and the steering wheel is all out of a Cadillac ATS. The wheels are custom. It's got VG flares on it, VG fender mirrors. I like the Fair Lady look, so we switched over to the fender mirrors rather than the door mirrors. The door handles are full custom. The ground effects are custom. The louvers for the back window are actually for a Mustang. So I thought that they kind of resembled the Mustang look. So we put those louvers on there. All of the interior except for what I listed is all custom. So the whole sub box and everything on top of it is all custom. It's got an active wing on it, so you don't see active wings on anything but like the supercars and stuff. And I love the McLarens. So the bottom of the wing is off of a Chrysler Crossfire. And so that's the part that motorizes, and then we just molded the other wing onto it. The back and on the back of the wing is smoked Lexan, and the taillights are supposed to look like a GTR, but they're actually for a semi. So a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them they're semi lights. The only reason we went with those is because they have an infinity mirror in it, so it looks like it's got like an illusion to where it looks like it tunnels and it's got depth. The lower diffuser is off of Mustang as well, but it's off a newer Mustang. I'm not really a Mustang guy, but I mean, just those aspects kind of, I thought, go with the car, so we just decided to use them even though I'm not a Mustang fan. The hatch and the hood are both on linear actuators, so they're both motorized. What else?
The paint job. Tell me about the paint job.
Oh, the paint is Eastwood, so it's just a solid gray. I think it's called slate gray or something, and then it's got a pearl over it. And then it's just a few different colors in the airbrush and whatnot. So there's a lot of cool little hidden ghosted stuff. Like we put the original logos back on, but we ghosted them.
Okay.
We got Datsun tags on on the roof and on the left fender. And then on the front there's the tag for the name of the car. The name that we used was 280ZX because when you say it fast it sounds like 280ZX, but the ATS, so it's just a play on words. Well,
I love the fact that this is like a mutt. You've got so many things kind of mixed into this car. I mean, the Cadillac seats, the semi taillights, it's just, what a unique car. Do you mind if we take a look under the hood?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. And I know you said that it was motorized, so there's no way that you can just pop the hood necessarily, right?
No, I mean, the only way to open it is through the linear actuators. So the nice thing about that is I don't have to worry about the hood ever coming up because it holds that hood down very, very well. The motor, like I said, is out of an ATS. It's an LTG motor. So this is the same motor that's in the 4-cylinder Camaros, but we got ours out of an ATS because we got the dash and everything from it too. There's not really that many upgrades to it. We did use Mishimoto down tube. It's got their radiator overflow and their oil catch can. It does have their intercooler in it. And the funny thing is that intercooler is actually upside down. So to get it to fit, we had to flip it upside down. But other than that, I mean, the holes for the original airflow system line up perfectly. It's got a K&N filter in it. And then it's got Willwood brakes all around, and it's got their master cylinder in it too.
That's awesome. And then inside, I see there's a little uniqueness to the steering wheel. Is that an iPod?
It's on air ride. So as far as we know, this is the first 280Z that's on air ride because we had to make all the struts and everything full custom.
Can you do me a favor and explain air ride to me?
Okay, so it's got airbags in each of the struts, so I can motorize or control the stance of the car with the bags. And then that's just the controller. It's got Dakota digital gauges, Sony head unit. It's got a full Sony stereo system all around. So.
Well, I have to say this car is absolutely incredible, and I mean just the combination of everything you have here is phenomenal, and the work that you put into it. All right, Brandon, what special effects do we have with this car? I know that you said that it's got some secrets up its sleeve.
Okay, so with the when we did the airbrush work, when we did the front lower diffuser, I noticed when we sprayed the pearl that it kind of looked like stars. So then I kind of got the theme of space, and then the space turned into Star Wars. And so there's some little Star Wars on the bottom of the fenders, and on the back there's some airbrush Star Wars stuff. And on the middle of the dash there was an eye finder for GPS that we didn't need to use, so we took it out, and it's actually got an R2-D2 in it with an LED in the R2-D2. So just little details that you don't really even notice unless somebody points them out to you.
That's awesome. And now to get all these pieces together and everything, I mean, it had to have taken a group of you. I mean,
about 70% of the work was myself.
Okay.
But my dad owns the custom shop, and there's a few other guys that work there that obviously had to help me to get to where I'm at. So I'll let you talk to John here in a second.
Okay, and then also you did say that you were out in Vegas recently, right, with this car?
Yeah, we took this to the SEMA show in Las Vegas. We were in Sony's booth, which was in North Hall. It went relatively well. I mean, I made the top 40 for the Young Guns class, which I was pretty happy with. And I had a few people tell me that it was their favorite car at the show, which really made me feel good.
Good, awesome. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Now we are here with the owner of the custom shop, which built Brandon's car over here. And I see there's many more cars that we have. John, can you tell me about these cars?
Yeah, I'm John Wardle from the custom shop. We're in Flanagan, Illinois. Okay. Been there 30 years doing this stuff. I grew up there. I had a dream of building custom cars. That's what I always wanted to do. And so opened up. My shop is actually an old Chrysler dealership. So I bought this old Chrysler dealership in our town and had this dream of building a shop that we could build custom cars and you know, anything that you could dream of. And you know, I've always been an advocate of custom stuff, even when I was a kid building stuff. So growing up, you know, I kind of was prepping myself, I guess, and I didn't even really know it. But ultimately, you know, my goal was to build a shop that we could build custom cars. So when I opened up the shop, customers were hard to find. It's hard to get people to trust you when you haven't really done a whole lot yet.
When your name's not out there, absolutely.
Yeah, and it took years and years. I actually had to work a night shift job, you know, while working at the shop to make it happen. Luckily, throughout the years, I acquired a few guys that started helping me at the shop, and we just started building and started growing the shop from there. You know, now being there 30 years, which is kind of crazy, as my son's car, Brandon, you interviewed him on this Datsun. You know, I wanted to bring him into the shop. He's been around it his whole life. So for him to see what we do and then actually physically get to build something himself. Now, we helped him build it, but he did 75% of the work on this car himself, so I'm very proud of him for that. As far as the aspect of our shop, we build, you know, all kinds of stuff, resto mods, customs. A lot of people assume we do collision work and stuff, and we just part-time do this, but we don't do collision work. We only build custom cars. So we don't have the typical, you know, dilemma that a lot of these people have when they take a car in and it sits for years. So, you know, they're working on collision stuff and working on custom part-time. Well, we do custom full-time all the time. And so we're always thinking of that. And I know we talked a little bit about SEMA stuff. Brandon's car was actually at SEMA this past year he was entered in the Battle of the Builders for the Young Guns, which he made the top 40, but he didn't make it past that, which, hey, we were proud to just make it there.
Absolutely.
So he's, you know, done a tremendous amount of work getting this car built, and literally in 6-7 months he built this car. So,
yes.
Which is tremendous for a professional, let alone somebody that's 19.
I was blown away to hear that, definitely. One question that I have.
Sure.
I'm still blown away that car has semi-truck taillights.
Yep.
Is every car that out of the box that you customize?
Well, like for his situation, he loved the GTR look, but GTR taillights are like $3,000. And I'm like, you don't have that kind of budget. So now you got to think, how can we give it that look without spending that kind of money?
Custom on a budget.
That's right, you know. Well, and I try to do that even for customers, you know, because, you know, the ultimate, you know, everybody's got a vision. So their vision of a finished product may be, you know, GTR style taillights. So I'm like, okay, how can we give you that look without having to necessarily have to spend that kind of money? So, you know, even, you know, people that are millionaires, they still have a budget. So I'm always, you know, trying to find a way to give you the look you want without necessarily just having to throw every dollar you got at it.
I mean, it tells a cooler story too. I mean, really.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that was a stopper for me.
Well, and for him, if his taillight goes out, you know, it's a $20 taillight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So it does make a big difference from, you know, that aspect. And when we're building custom cars for customers, you know, it's tough to be unique. You know, if you've been around the custom world, everybody has seen so much stuff. And there's so many different colors of this and combinations and modifications and what can you do to make yourself different? And that's really what I feel like we strive at my shop. And my guys are always striving to be different and unique. And, you know, whether it's a color combination like this car or, you know, a taillight integration or a hood scoop or, you know, whatever you can dream it up, we do renderings so that way we can kind of play around with it for customers so we can show them kind of try to pick out what's in their head and put it on paper and then throw my ideas at it. And at the end of the day, you know, when we do a rendering, you know, sometimes you're like, yeah, maybe that's not quite it. But then you also might look at it and go, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that I found with my customers when they see that rendering, sometimes you can see the light bulb just clicks on. They're like, oh my gosh, you can make that out of my car.
Absolutely.
So it's really great in that aspect for sure.
Well, that's awesome, John. Thank you so much. So it's the custom shop, correct?
Yep.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you subscribe and watch more videos. Thanks.